Welcome to the Psychedelic Integration Podcast. I'm Sinclair Fleetwood, a ceremonialist, plant medicine guide, and psychedelic integration coach, and I help soul seekers create lasting transformation so you can get unstuck, embody your power, and be authentic AF, all with plant medicine as your guide. If you're ready to go beyond visuals and get a vision for your life, if you know the end of your ceremony is just the beginning of your expansion, then this show is for you. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome. Hey family, welcome to the show. I'm Sinclair Fleetwood. So happy to have you here. I don't know about you or where you live, but in Asheville, North Carolina, it's like in the 60s this week. The sun has decided to return and grace us with his fabulous presence. I feel when my face is in the sun, I am like receiving the wisdom of the light codes. I am like downloading the magic juice that I need to stay alive. It feels like that important to walk outside amongst the trees in the sunshine. I'm just like, oh, thank you, thank you. I don't know about you, but the energy has been so heavy, and I've been hearing this from my clients, from my friends, from my healer friends, from my co-facilitators. Like everyone is just sort of like holding on for dear life. And why is that? Like, why is it like that? Why is it feeling like that? Well, one of the reasons is it's winter. We contract in the winter, the season of winter invites us to go inward. And all of these kind of feelings of heaviness and stuckness, when you are still and there's not a lot of distraction and maybe not as much is going on, everything starts to rise so that you can see it, so you can heal it. It's rising to be healed. And that's happening individually, especially to those of us who are attuned and sensitive to energy and to our own energy. And it's also happening on the collective level, in the whole, in our government, in our economy, in our relationships with each other. And man, shit is getting real, right? And those of us who have been on this path for a while, we know that this is coming. We know that, the spiritual awakening is coming, and we're doing our best to like put all of our energy and time and effort into preparing ourselves, preparing our clients, preparing the family with capacity to handle what's coming. And it's not coming in 5 to 10 years. It's not coming in the future. It's here. It's here. The future is now. It's 2025, y'all. The time is now and it's here. So we have to be in our most ideal condition to handle this. And I don't say ideal condition like you need to be some perfected version of yourself. I mean, what is the ideal shape, the ideal energy, the ideal empowerment, the ideal embodiment? Like, what shit is in your way that needs to go so you can be calm, collected, cool, empowered, and badass, and emanating the vibe of whatever it is that you want to embody. So it's a really beautiful time to be putting yourself number one priority. Take care of the vessel, take care of the temple, take care of your sweet mind. Put time and energy and your money into taking care of your emotional body, taking care of your physical body, taking care of your mental body, learning more spiritual practices, tools, doing the things that you already know. This work has never been more important, and we are on the leading edge of helping take these crumbling structures that we have in our world and turning them into a world that serves the whole, right? That serves everyone. That's not just for a few, it's for everyone. And a world that is in beautiful alignment with nature, with spirit, with all the beings, a world that respects the animals and the plants and the water, a world that is in reverence and recognizes that we are holy, we are sacred, and life is a sacred gift. And we have the opportunity to be part of the revolution that's coming to put in place the world that we have always wanted to build. We're doing it right now. Like, you listening to this is doing it, right? So find those courses, find that coach, find that therapist, like, do the work. It is time to do it. And if you're looking for a retreat, I would love to invite you to consider Resonance. We just announced a new season of 3 retreats that are happening this year. There's info on my website of how to get in touch with me. You can connect with me on a call and I'll give you all the details. We are retreating in April and July and in October this year. And it's such a beautiful container. We have so much fun, and the healing is so deep. And, we do 4 days, and there's 4 elements, 4 directions, 4 seasons. We have a beginning, we have an end, and in the middle is the divine alchemy and balance of the feminine and the masculine. And we do it all around Grandfather Fire. We sing and we have such a good time. And so much powerful alchemy and transformation happens in these containers. We would love to have you join us. So go to my website, sinclairfleetwood.com/events. You can click on events and book a call with me to find out if it's a good fit for you. Last week we talked about how to rewrite your limiting beliefs. And the number one question I got after this podcast was, yeah. Thank you for all of that information. And how do I actually identify my limiting beliefs? And I recognize, I didn't actually go over that as much as I could have, because, well, my limiting beliefs have been slapping me in the face for months. Look at this little box you put yourself in, and I feel like I'm just getting knocked down by them all the time. And I also recognize that that's just what my experience is right now. So your experience might be okay, I don't want to be held back by my limiting beliefs. Where are they? I need to find them. One of the things to consider as you are opening to contemplate your own limiting beliefs is, this is not something you need to get a flashlight and a sword and, go into yourself and look for. Limiting beliefs will reveal themselves to you when they're ready to be revealed. But there are some methods and some things to keep in mind when you're looking for them, right? So one of the things that I love about the medicine path is that psychedelic medicine will show you subconscious patterns and beliefs and things that are hidden beneath your awareness that you don't consciously know about. So you can take the medicine, and this works with any medicine. You can take the medicine, and a lot of what happens is excavation. It's okay, let's descend into your subconscious. Let's descend into these dark parts that you're not really aware of. Let's look at the past. Let's look into your trauma. Let's look into these things from childhood. Let's look into, ancestral beliefs down the line, societal conditioning, traumatic experiences. All of these things are origins of limiting beliefs. And a lot of what happens is these are the seeds, right, that get planted in us when we're young and we're supple and we're fertile for being programmed, because we're so open, we're so still connected to spirit. The first 7 years of our life is kind of when we're getting the programming. We're getting parented. We're landing fully in ourselves, and then we're also receiving containers that we start to reside in. And at that time, we trust so openly. We trust adults, we trust teachers, we trust our parents, we trust all these people, because we're open-hearted, loving children. We are walking through the world in the vibration of love that we came in with, right? So we don't know how to be suspicious or self-conscious or I reject that. We don't reject that. We just are we believe in Santa Claus because someone told us that we love, that it's a real thing. It's like that. It's everything that we're told, we believe that it's true because someone in a place of authority is telling it to us, right? And that place of authority is usually an adult person or another kid. It can be another kid that maybe you are afraid of or in awe of, or you have some kind of feeling about them, right? So when they tell you something, you take it on board. And that's around the time when we start to become self-conscious. After the age of 7, we start to find more ability to look at ourselves and judge. We develop a cast of judgment, of self-judgment, of comparison and competition, and looking at the world and being afraid. And these things start to develop as we're children, and the seeds are planted in us, and then we often are the ones that are nurturing those seeds. It might take someone outside of you to be telling you like, oh, you can't do that. One of the things my bestie, one of her limiting beliefs that she had worked with for a while was, that's not for girls like you, which was something that she was told when she was young, that there were certain things that she was not going to be able to do because of who she was and how she was. So things like that, these little like stop signs, like limiting beliefs are like stop signs, like, nope, none shall pass. Like, it's like, you can't come past here. And so you start to believe that there's nothing past there. Like you can't go past there. And so it goes from being this like thing that someone else is telling you to a belief that you uphold and reinforce because you continue to like tap into it. Yep, that's still there. Yep, that's still there. And eventually you're going to stop trying. You're just going to accept it and move on. There's a really good example in nature about this. The captivity of nature, like how animals behave in this kind of situation. So let's say you're a baby elephant at a circus. So the baby elephant is a tiny little thing. So they use a little stake and they're like trying to keep it still. So they tie a little rope to his foot and they put the stake in the ground. And the baby elephant's like, I don't want to be tied down. I'm trying to get out. He's like moving every which way. And he spends a lot of time struggling against this stake, but he's not budging it. It's a big stake. He can't get it out. So as he grows older, as he grows stronger and bigger, he's still tied to this stake. He's still tied to the stake. And eventually he's a full-grown elephant. He's a full-grown ass elephant. And this is the same size stake that was there at the beginning, but it's been years and he's never been able to get out. He stops trying. At any moment he could just like walk away from where he is with the stake, that he would just rip that thing right out of the ground because he weighs 2,000 pounds, right? Our limiting beliefs are the same as that stake. This is a thing that the mind does. It agrees and it reinforces. And so the mind is trying to keep us safe, right? It wants to keep us safe. It wants to keep us alive and safe. Safety to the mind is often just not dead. It doesn't mean like chill, or there are certain things that we think of as safe, like needing safety. Like when I think about safety, I think about like financial security and, you know, living in a home that feels secure and like having good emotionally intelligent friends around me. You know, there's like some higher level things, and the body is really just like, are you dead? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then you're safe, right? So it does all kinds of crazy things to keep you alive that are not necessarily actually keeping you safe and vibrant, right? That's why these limiting beliefs become so painful, because they're just like, they're holding you back from experiencing the fullness of your being. They hold you back from expressing the fullness of your being. They are the stake that is keeping your 2,000-pound elephantness stuck in one spot. Those are some of the ways that we get limiting beliefs. The other way that we get them is they're self-created, they're self-perpetuated. So we start to develop this self-consciousness and this like self-suppression and self-censorship, where we believe that the way that we are inside, if we express it outside, that's not okay for some reason. So, and probably because we express ourselves as ourselves and we're not received well. We were bullied, we were shamed, we were ridiculed, we were humiliated. There's all kinds of things that happen, you know, in school, with kids, like parents, you know, you being you, and then somebody is like, I don't like that, or I don't like that, and they're violent towards you, or I don't like that, and you get punished. You know, there's limitations develop often to protect you so that you are not putting yourself in harm's way emotionally, physically, mentally, so that you fit in, so that you are accepted, you conform so that you can be accepted. And so that creates a set of limiting beliefs that is very internalized. It's like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, my body's not good enough. A lot of mine in that realm are related to my body. and the size of my body and the shape of my body. And there's a lot of just overculture that tells us, it really comes from advertising and trying to sell us things, telling us that there is something that is not all the way right with us that could be solved by buying this product, right? Or following this program or doing this thing or whatever. There has to be an agreement. You're making an agreement that you have a limitation. So every time that you feel a bad way about yourself, whatever it is, that you're a failure, that you're not worthy in some way, like that you will never have success, your parent didn't love you all the way, or you were abandoned or something. There's so many of these like deep core wounds that we have that translate into limiting beliefs. So how to find these in yourself is starting to do your internal work, right? Starting to do some self-inquiry. And the medicine experience is great for this. Ask the medicine to show you. You can ask the medicine to show you, what is holding me back? What are my limiting beliefs? Where is this conditioning? Where is the program that is running that is no longer resonating for me? And part of this process can be painful, and it's okay to go slow with it. Like I said, you don't need to come in with a flashlight and a sword like, I'm going to kill everyone in there. What usually happens is the medicine comes in and turns the light on. And when the light comes on, the light of awareness, the light of consciousness, the light of love, you can see the room that is you, the internal you, is illuminated. And you can see everything in there. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't know this was in here. I didn't know I had these weird beliefs about money or these weird scarcity beliefs or, and I'm calling them weird because when I think about things that hide in the dark, they're a little weird. It's not to say that your beliefs are weird. Everybody's are weird. We're all weird inside our subconscious, right? The things that we tell ourselves and we decide that they're true are kind of ridiculous at times. Like some of the things that I used to think about myself, like, and now I see my capacity and I still have them, I'm still going through layers of like, okay, my capacity got bigger. Now I can like kick ass and take down some more of these limiting beliefs. Like how much expansion can I do, And I look back at myself, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, and I'm like, whoa, that feels like a lifetime of healing has happened in that time. And how do you do it is you start inquiring, asking questions in yourself. What are you afraid of? Because fear is usually protecting some kind of trauma, some kind of emotional pain, some kind of belief that you have about yourself that is wrapped in shame or wants to hide somewhere. So when there's fear is a good place to go into, to investigate, to softly and gently, come to the fear. You don't need to go in stabbing. You don't need to go in like tearing. This is a soft, gentle process. Everything we're doing in these spaces needs to be as soft as possible. We are not here to go in with guns blazing and like blow the place up. You can do it like that. I don't recommend it. Honestly, the more that I do this work and the longer I work in the integration space and with medicine and with both, the more I understand that our tissues, our bodies, our systems do not like to be rushed. They contract. When we come at things quickly, there's a contraction. There's a reason that we are moving slowly. There's a reason that I'm always talking about living seasonally and moving in a slow, sweet, and soft manner, because fear is not going to show you what it's protecting you from if you come at it aggressively. It needs to receive your presence with softness. You are there just to create safety and trust inside of yourself. So when you go looking in these things, it's not that you're there to come and like clean house. It's that you're there to come and open the way so that you can let these things rise to the surface when they're ready to be known. And that's that's really, when someone asks me like, how do I find my limiting beliefs? Start watching your thoughts. Because whatever you are thinking is what you believe. A belief is just a thought you continue to think. Abraham Hicks says that. And I quote it all the time because it's true. Our thoughts are where the limiting beliefs are hiding in plain sight. The thoughts that you have about yourself. What do you believe about yourself that's not actually true, that might not be true? Asking the question is like questioning, is that true? Even that, it feels like so foreign to people because there's, when you have a belief, it's often that you're taking it at face value. It's like, this is true, period, exclamation point. Like, it's a belief. So I'm telling you, give yourself permission to question your beliefs, all of them. Your religion, your upbringing. If you are not willing to question these things, you are really on the wrong path, because this path is, the medicine path is here to tear apart the things that do not resonate with capital T truth from the on high, you know, the truth of spirit, the truth of consciousness itself. And you get to decide what that means for you. There's no one that can tell you what your capital T truth is. And if you follow different teachers and you start to pay attention to the people that are moving in these spaces, there is a lot that we have in common. There's a cosmology, there's a worldview, there's a common belief system about the nature of consciousness that has been revealed through the spiritual path, through the medicine path. And there's lots of variations, you know, but a lot of it is the same. And you hear it echoed from our ancestors, from the past, from the indigenous elders, from the teachers, from the people who were living in tribes close to the earth. Those are the messages that have lasted and have made it through the halls of time to come to us now. There's a reason that we are reconnecting with those messages from spirit, from the ancestors, from these deep wisdom carriers, the medicine carriers, the holders of these ancient traditions are speaking to us through time, through these medicines. And the medicines are so old and they are so wise. And they've been, you know, these mushrooms have gathered wisdom from the earth for billions of years. It's like, when you start thinking about how old and wise they are, and how old and wise our bodies are and our systems are, and how long this technology of the human mind and the human body and the human DNA and the DNA of everything and the ecological systems of the earth, how long it has taken and how many iterations and variations and how massive and powerful and old and beautiful everything is. That is where the wisdom is. And when I have a belief about myself that doesn't align with that magnitude of beauty and sacredness and holiness and magic, it has to go. So that's kind of my screen now, is like, does this match my worldview? You know, like, that's kind of how I tell if it's false. Is it coming from the culture that we've created in the last few hundred years? Or is it coming from what I know to be true, from my highest self expression, from my connections to all that is, from the belief system that I've developed over working with these medicines over time? And if it's coming from, you know, the last 50 years and it has to do with, you know, the aesthetics of like, what do I own and what do I have and what do I look like? Fuck that. Limiting belief, you know? So that's kind of the way that I understand how to identify a limiting belief. And also, you just know, like, when a limiting belief comes up to you and you are able to watch and observe your thought, the belief arrives. You have a thought about yourself. You think something, you're saying, you know, there's a commentary going on in your mind. And this commentary is often full of just trash, right? It's just a lot of stuff that's like going through. If you are able to step away, give yourself some space and time, create a spaciousness between you and these thoughts and watch them, you will be able to be like, limiting belief, that's bullshit, fuck that thing, that's stupid, no, that's not true, I don't believe that at all. And then once you like get the skill of it and you can watch it and you can see the way that these things just, they grow like weeds in your mind, that's when you start to recognize, okay, this is like a stream of things that's happening all the time, and I get to decide, do I engage in this or not? And then you can start to notice how your body connects with it. Like, how does your body feel when you think these thoughts? Do you notice a tension in yourself when your thoughts are being hard on you? When your brain is being like Captain Asshole, you know? Some common signs of limiting beliefs are like repeated negative self-talk. Like anything bad that you're saying to yourself is a limiting belief. It's trash. And this is not to judge you, for you to judge yourself like, oh my God, I have so many limiting beliefs. Like, oh my God, like I'm like, it can be upsetting when you start to witness how much, like how many dump trucks full of trash that you're dumping in your own heart every day, you know? There's no need to judge because you're not doing anything wrong. We all have this. Everybody has it. And the work of healing and expanding is becoming aware and deciding to do it differently. And it doesn't mean you have ever done it wrong. You don't do it wrong. It couldn't be wrong. If it was wrong, you wouldn't be here right now. We have to do things the way that we do them. We have to go through these hard times. We have to understand the shadow. We cannot have the gift without the shadow. This is one of the core teachings of the Gene Keys, which I love so much. And if you have not, I know I talk about this on every podcast. It is so awesome and powerful, and I recommend it a ton. The gift is in the treasure box of the shadow. It's inside of these dark places, and we can't get to it. We can't open it if we are finding the negative self-talk and then being like, oh my God, you're such a loser. Like, I can't believe you have all these limiting beliefs, and like creating a new loop of negative self-talk, right? So another way that it can show up is like procrastination and self-sabotage. So sometimes we procrastinate because we're genuinely not ready to do something. It's not the right energy. It's not the right time. I actually don't consider that procrastination. That's just attuning to your vibe, right? Like getting energetically attuned and changing the way that you do things often feels like procrastination because we are meant to be slowing down way more. And we think we're supposed to be so productive and so like on all the time. And when you come into a different way of believing in a different worldview and a different understanding of yourself, everything slows way down. So what we think of as like procrastination might not be caused by a limiting belief. It might be caused because you are attuning to the speed and the rhythm of your life and trying to understand what that means because you've never done it before. So, but sometimes procrastination is there because you have a ceiling on yourself. You've put one of the most common ones is, I'm not ready, imposter syndrome of some, everybody's going to find out that I am totally inept, whatever. So you put a lid on it, and then, you're ready to do something, create something, write something, build something, take pictures, create a move, write, whatever you do, make art, you make a business, you want something, you want it, and you put it off because why? Because, well, what if I'm no good at it? What if I like put all this energy and time and money into this thing and it doesn't work out and I fail, and then everybody knows that I'm a huge failure? So that will keep you from starting, right? You've already written a story that you suck and it doesn't work. So that is a limiting belief. And that story, the story of I can't, like, what if it doesn't work out? That is limited belief in action. Like the ways that we think about all the ways that something will go wrong, and telling stories of like why you can't do something that you want to do. You are writing limiting beliefs to keep yourself in place, Or maybe you let yourself do the thing. You're like, I'm going for it. I'm going to do it. And then you get some momentum and you get a little bit going. And then you just like throw a log in the road and crash your car all over yourself. And like you sabotage yourself in some way. You go back to an old coping mechanism. You like touch back into the limiting belief and fall apart for whatever reason. Both of these things are actually similar, because if you are stopping before you're ever starting is the same thing as starting and then not having the capacity or willingness or ability to keep going because you failed a little bit. There is no such thing as a setback. I really believe that. When you are healing, you are growing, you are living your life fully, setbacks do not exist, because all setbacks are part of the journey. All setbacks are part of the journey. All delays are beneficial. Even if it takes you 10 years to start writing your book, when you get there, it will be the right time. And we put all this pressure on ourselves to have instant overnight success. And instant overnight success does not exist, actually. What we see when someone has quote unquote instant success, or, oh, this person went from 0 to $1 million in a year, or, in 6 months. And you don't see the 10 years that person spent doing all of the steps to get to where they are. It seems like overnight, and sometimes it feels like overnight. When your capacity is expanding really quickly, it's like maybe you spent 10 years and then all of a sudden it feels like it happened overnight. But usually how it happens is slow, steady consistency. We don't want to be the hare. We want to be the tortoise. Tortoise vibes are the best vibes because we're going. And when we fall, we know that that's part of the process. It's part of the journey. We trust the process. We trust that we have the capacity to stand right back up and keep going and iterate and change and like maneuver and be flexible. So limiting beliefs are very rigid. They are like, no, not possible. You can't do this. You're stupid. You suck, whatever thing. And when you trust the process and you remove the obstacles and the limiting belief system, everything feels possible. It feels impossible not to succeed. You're like, I am blowing it up. I am killing it. I am queening so hard. I am doing so good. And you just feel empowered to follow your excitement at every moment without regard to outcome. So limiting beliefs have all these requirements and parameters and like, if this, and it has to be like this, and it has all this anxiety and it has worry. When you are operating from your most aligned self, you're in flow, you do not get stuck because you recognize that there is no stuck. You recognize that there are times when things don't go perfectly. Limiting beliefs try to make you perfect. Limiting beliefs want you to be perfect. So they tell you that unless you're perfect, you can't. Limiting beliefs and perfectionism are like BFFs forever. So what we want is this open, spacious, beautiful ability to like move forward with confidence, right? To know that you are on your path. You are always on your path. That's always true. Everything is always working out for you. And if you don't feel good about where you are, change the way that you're thinking. Look at your belief system. Ask yourself, how am I holding myself back? What patterns do I notice in my relationships, in my career, in my personal growth, in my health? What patterns am I holding on to? And you might find a pattern in yourself that you've been trying to change for a long time. If you feel like you are running in a circle on a hamster wheel, I can relate to this. I have had these few things where I'm just like, oh my God, these keep coming up. They keep coming up. And I recognize that those are my safety places. Those limiting beliefs are really the last things that have been keeping me safe from this old way that I was living for such a long time. And it can take time for us to move through these in a way that feels really healthy and nourishing, right? So ask yourself, is this absolutely true? See if you can crack some holes in it and start telling yourself what you want to hear instead. The way to change a limiting belief is to choose a new thought, choose a new decision, choose a new belief, and start practicing that. That's all you have to do. Pay attention when they show themselves and practice the new ones. Say to yourself the way that you want to talk to yourself. That's it. That's all you have to do. Limiting beliefs can be obliterated in a moment when you decide to believe something else. And you may not believe it all the way at first, and that's okay. Keep practicing it. When the old belief comes, remember the new one. No, I don't agree with that. I don't resonate with that. I don't choose that. That is not vibing with me. What's vibing with me is I am amazing. I am cute. The universe loves me. Everything is always working out for me. Life is happening for me. All the doors are opening. I'm so excited to be amazed by the universe. Like, you can say whatever you want, right? And invite the medicine into the process. Invite your integration into the process. How can you be more whole? How can you be more connected? How can you be more fully authentic? These are the things that the limiting beliefs are keeping you from doing. Break out of the chains. Take this 2,000-pound elephant thing and pull it out of the ground, because you don't need to be stuck there anymore. So thanks for joining me today. I hope that gives you a little more context, a little more meat around limiting beliefs and how you can find them and let them come to you. Be gentle with them, but know that they're not going to be sticking around because you're ready to heal them. And that's what happens in these times of difficulty. When hard things rise, they're rising to be healed because we're ready. We're like ready to change. And there's nothing more exciting than that. Change is amazing. It feels scary, but it's beautiful and you can do it. So thanks for being here, and don't forget to go to the website, find out about resonance retreats, click on events. Nest is always open if you want to come join us Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can find all of my information on my website. Thank you for being here. See you next time, family.